I wanted to take a few moments and talk about fall or autumn photography. You've all seen those classic shots of the rolling hills or mountainsides swathed in reds and yellows and oranges. And it just can be an absolutely beautiful time of year, and it can be really, really photogenic. And so I just wanted to offer up a few tips for taking pictures during this time of year. The first tip I have for you is about making the photo. And this is actually a tip that can be broken into several pieces. And some of them I've talked about before. But basically, if you want those really good pictures, you are going to need to go out there and make them happen. You can't just expect to take a drive in the middle of the day and jump out of the car, take a few photos, and have something that is really wall-worthy, meaning printing and beautiful, or even really Facebook sharing worthy. So what you're going to need to do to get the best out of these beautiful colors that happen around fall time is you're going to want to go out in those early morning or late evening time where the sun is starting to set. You get that really nice golden light, and it really helps bring out the colors in the surrounding foliage. So golden hour time, early morning, late evening, that's when you want to make the pictures. Also, this is all still part of that first tip of making the photographs. Do some planning. Look for vistas. Start scouting now or start watching for next year. These are all things that you want to do to make sure that you are going to be in the right place at the right time. Don't you grab that. Don't pee on that either. Another tip I have for you, and I've talked about these guys before, this is a circular polarizer. This is one of those times of the year where these things can really, really help because they really bring out the saturation in colors. And that's exactly what you're trying to do today. Our cameras can't quite capture the deepness of the colors that we're seeing around us. And by using a circular polarizing filter, you can really help bring out those saturated colors and show them nicely. It can also deepen the blue of the sky. A couple things to be careful though. One, don't overdo it. Especially in certain angles, when you point the polarizer in certain directions, you get a very noticeable gradient across your sky from where it's maximum effect, deep space blue, to where the effect is more minimum and it's very bright and white. And that's distracting, so you want to avoid that. And a circular polarizer works by rotating it. I have other videos that show that, other blog posts. I'll put links down to those down below. But this is one of those filters that really is useful, and its effects cannot be recreated in post-production, meaning you can't pop a file into Photoshop and do the same thing that using a circular polarizer will do to you. Sometimes you can get close, but definitely not exactly the same. So this is one of those filters that I say is worth your time. Another tip you might want to think about is that you don't always have to go out when it's beautiful blue sky. As I said, if you can't get out in the morning or the evening, you can only get out at midday, then a cloudy or a gray day is going to be your friend. Just avoid capturing the sky in those photos. Really focus and fill the frame with your foreground and your trees and your foliage. The kind of even light that you get on those gray days, and I've talked about that in videos past, is going to be really nice and not wash those colors out. Now, if conditions aren't great, sky is ugly, too gray, too blue, midday, and none of that is working for you, then don't try to capture any of the sky and focus on details. There is amazing beauty in individual leaves during the fall season where the veins are still holding the chlorophyll and stay green, where the rest of the leaf is turning this beautiful red. You get yellows and oranges and all of those in between. Walk around, focus on something small. Capture those small moments that are happening during fall, and don't worry and don't try to capture the larger or the big picture. And to tie in with that original tip of making photos, don't be afraid to pick up a beautiful leaf in an ugly location and move it someplace pretty and then take it. That is totally fine. I don't see that as cheating. I've oftentimes picked up beautiful fall leaves and put them on very green ferns that are still green. I really like that contrast of kind of the fern hanging on to summer and the leaf is changing into fall. So you've got a lot of options there. Don't always try to just capture all of the beauty, because our cameras have a real hard time of capturing what we're seeing and sharing it effectively with everybody else. So focus on the smaller details. So these were just a couple of tips that I hope help you capture your fall photography better. Really, if I had to sum this up, it's making, it's planning, and it's not being afraid to capture the small details. And a circular polarizer will help in all of those ways. At the end of this video, I'll just take a few seconds and point the camera in a different direction, or a couple different directions, and rotate the circular polarizer and kind of talk you through that so you can see the differences as it's going. But I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions about fall photography, just leave a comment down below, or even better, come over and find me on Facebook, where I do make a very strong effort to answer all of the questions there. There are a lot of YouTube comments that I just don't get to, and that sometimes I don't find till months later. And in the case of something timely like fall photography, if you've got a serious question, I want to make sure I'm answering it for you. So come on over there and join that nice community of folks that we have going on there. Thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so this should look familiar. This is the scene we were just looking at. Now, the sun is directly behind the camera, or almost directly behind the camera, and the circular polarizer is on. When the sun is directly behind the camera, you have the smallest effect from the circular polarizer, meaning it's not going to look a whole lot different with it on or off, or as you rotate it. So you can see my hand getting in the way here. I'm just going to grab this polarizer, and I'm just going to start to rotate it, and you can watch that the sky will change slightly. I'm going to rotate it some more here, but not greatly. You get the maximum effect from the circular polarizer when it is 45 degrees to the sun. So now I'm going to go ahead and rotate this camera over here. So now we're just about 45 degrees to the sun. So if you're thinking about a compass, no, should I say 90 degrees to the sun? 90 degrees, yes, sorry. Think about a compass, and if the sun was right now in the west, we were pointed east. And now, when the sun is in the west, we are pointed due south. And so now you can see that the sky is much bluer. I'm going to adjust my aperture so that we can get a little bit more light into this here. All right, and now if I rotate, maybe that's too much. Now if I rotate my circular polarizer, we should see a little bit more difference. Yes, look at that. And that you're starting to see that gradient that I was talking about there that you want to watch out for and not overdo it, because that of having this kind of like blue sun in the sky is distracting. And so let me rotate back and reduce that effect. Right there looks quite nice. Now I'm going to pause this for just a second and take the circular polarizer off so you can compare and contrast what this is going to look like. Now here we are with the circular polarizer off. I had to adjust the aperture a little bit to compensate for the increased amount of light that was coming through, because the circular polarizer does block some of that light. So again, really nice. It really helps bring out the saturation in the colors. I'm not quite sure that came through in this video, but I do have other videos that have shown that before. So again, any questions about circular polarizers, just leave a comment down below, or even better, come over and find me on Facebook. Thanks for watching.